Do 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 do. We can all be friends. We can all be friends. What's up? What's up, Hector? What's up? Did I catch the Switch event? Did I catch the Switch event? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the Switch a little bit. Full disclosure, already got mine pre-ordered. So I'll be here on the 3rd of March. Now, that being said, the event was BBB. I give it a 7. 7 out of 10. You know. Really not happy Mario is going to probably wait till September slash, you know, I don't know, November, probably September. Could be as late as November. That I'm not happy about. Really wish they'd just focus on games, you know. Really wish they'd just focus on games. I know Retro's been working on a game for a while now. No word on that, you know. So, I already own Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2. So I'll be getting Zelda on there, even though I already have a Wii U. I just have no desire to use it. So looking forward to that. Aside from that, you know, I think the event was okay. The JRPG was cool, man, but I mean, at the same time, that's essentially a deal. You know, it's a digital game, right? Like it's an indie store style I Am Setsuna game. You know, that's not. You know, man, it's all right. You know, and there really wasn't enough of it. They just kind of show a video, and then they spend 20 minutes talking about, you know, ways we can use a controller that we already knew about. You know. Arms is funny because that's exactly what I was doing with Yam. Remember that thing where Yam was in the arena fighting with the giant gloves? So that was pretty funny. I'm not gonna buy it, but you know. So I'm really just into single player games at this point. Minus Mario Kart. Now, why they didn't show Mario Kart Deluxe, I don't know. You know, so there's a lot of stuff they didn't show, like Mario Kart Deluxe, what they're doing with Pokemon, their Smash Brothers port. No news on that. Nothing. You know. Do you ever think about putting some of my stuff on shirts? Yeah, I have. It doesn't really move. Yeah. So I'm not gonna keep a shirt store open. So maybe in the future, but I mean, you know, I don't really. This doesn't print on a shirt. You know how big this is? Like, you could do sublimations, and I've done that, but there's no money in it. Like, I can't make even like $1 because they cost like $20 to do print on demand, and after shipping, or like $15, and after shipping, you're looking at a $25 purchase. I don't make any money. I tried it a couple years ago with some of my saucies, and I wanted to make like $5 a shirt, and people were like, "It's $35. I'm not paying for that." I'm like, "Well, I don't, you know, I'm not buying T-shirts. Like me personally, I'm not gonna buy inventory and hold on to it and push the shirts." So I don't know. Xenoblade 2 looked cool, you know, but who knows when that's coming out, right? Who knows? I don't know. No one knows. Um, Sonic Mania wasn't announced, even though it's going to be on the system. That was weird. Uh, Weird, right? It's a little weird. Some of it was a little weird. I'm glad that they're making No More Heroes, but that could be another year or two away. So I'm talking about I want games at launch. I want games that I can play now. Um, Zelda and Mario are the only games that they announced, and I'm like, hey, but Mario isn't going to be available at launch, so you know. Look, I own one. It's coming, you know. So I'm there, but you know, I mean, no one knows when Skyrim's coming out, right? Yeah, 300. I'm happy that it's region free. You know, two of the happiest things that I was one, it's region free, and two, that you can be recharged using a USB C. So that I'm happy about. Uh, you know, which means you can use your laptop or whatever to recharge it if you're traveling, which is great. Um, I hope that it gets the kind of support that the 3DS has gotten. You know, so I just think the landscape's seriously changed. Nintendo's still trying to kind of get that Wii money back, and the PS4 ignored that entirely, and have already sold 50 million units. So it's like I just think Nintendo should, really focus on just games. You know, the fact that Mario's not playable on the floor of this event that they're doing is troublesome. How long did it take you to sketch this? We started drawing that today, so I've spent about 3 hours on it so far. You know, it took me a little while to work out the arcade cabinets because I had to dig up the reference. So I spent about between 3 and 4 hours on this so far. Just mind you, I'm talking to while I do this. So it moves a little slower. Later, dude. What's the art supplies I've used thus far in your career? I have a list in the info box of all the art supplies that I use currently, and some links to a couple videos I made on them, like what Copic colors I use and stuff. Hi Rob, happy 2017. Xbox Vice gaming was perfect. We got the one for my son for Xmas, and he loves it. Ah, perfect. Glad to hear it, Karen. Um, I mean, I've used a lot of stuff, but I mean, mostly now I just mechanical pencil, Copic pens, Copic markers, watercolors, distress ink, and Photoshop. It's pretty much what I do. But I do list them all out in the info box. So if you have any specific questions concerning them, feel free to ask. Even better, we're running Sling and Hula. Oh, nice. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, what are the top? I meant what the top have one. What are the top materials I can think of right now? Uh, Copic multiliners for inking. I like them because they're Copic proof. So um, I like Copic markers, watercolors, and I use Photoshop for all my digital work. So I don't really do any opaque painting, so I don't use gouache or. I use color pencils with Copic markers as well. So, and I like to sketch with red mechanical lead. That helps. What's up, Jinx? It's getting there. Anytime, Karen. Appreciate it. Peace. What word you like to who would I like to collaborate with in the near future? I don't know. I don't really collaborate with anybody. Um, I wouldn't mind doing some more work for that French magazine I just did some stuff for. They were fun to work with. I pretty much do all my own stuff. So I draw, I write, I color. I'd like to meet another me. If I could clone myself, that'd be awesome. Maybe in the future, Ashley and I'll team up and do a piece. That'd be cool. That might be fun. The goal is to get Brandon to be able to clean up my sketches so I can produce extra work. You know, do really rough stuff and let him clean it up. That is what I'm trying to build right now. But that's going to take a while. It'd always be fun to work with Udon. I'll say it again, you know, like I think in terms of publishers, they're probably at the top of my list right now. You know? Just to have it on the resume, you know? And someday, look, it would be awesome to work with Todd McFarlane, you know, on anything. So that would be like the last thing I've worked with everyone I've always grew up with. Well, okay, I haven't worked with Tim Schafer. Kind of did work with Tim Schafer a little bit, and that I did this Psychonauts tribute piece in play that he had to sign off on. So I'm not really working with him, but I got him to okay something. So that, you know, close enough for me. Being that I'm not really a game designer, programmer, coder thingy. How do I get motivated when it comes to how do I get motivated? Well, now I just work. I don't need motivation. When I was younger, there was that point in my life. You know the one where you make all these great plans and you or maybe your art friends all agree you're going to do some wonderful shit. And in the back of your mind, you know, that's not going to happen. You know, you know that feeling. Um, I remember the last time I had it. I want to say January or March of 2003, somewhere between there. I remember exactly where I was at driving over this hill. coming back after having this meeting about this comic book that my then girlfriend wanted me to draw, and she wrote it, and me and my buddy Joe were going to work on it, and we had all these great plans, and I knew I wasn't going to do any of it. And you know what we accomplished? Nothing. I didn't do it. I accomplished exactly what. And then I had this conversation with myself. I was like, I know I cannot do stuff. Like I know I cannot do stuff, but I don't know what can I do? You know. And one of the problems I had early on was working with people, that constantly, you know, I'm not very good at fulfilling someone else's vision. With employers I am, but when it comes to collaboration, I like to do my thing, you do your thing. So I had to stop working with people that wanted me to do what they wanted. Um, but I've gone to work and drawn every day, so like I just know, okay, I got this, I got that. Um, this to do, this to do. I try to break it into small chunks, develop stuff. If I don't feel like working on one thing, I'll work on the next thing. You know. However, once I start working on it, I tend to not want to stop. So I'll keep working on a piece until a section of it's complete before I jump to another thing. Like if I start drawing this at night, when I wake up, I'll continue drawing it until it's done. And then when that's done, I'll start something else. Then come back and start the colors. Once I've kind of cleared my head a little bit. I like to work on two things usually at once. But in terms of just like, I don't know, I just don't know how to pick. A lot of not working when you're an artist starting out is because you don't know how. Like you don't know, you don't have real control over what you're doing. It's almost like feels like luck. Feels like you just sort of that time I got lucky. I don't know how to recreate it. I've gotten to the point where I have a pretty good formula in terms of developing. If I don't know how to do something, I know how to go do it or find out how to do it. Do a little test piece, get a little sketching done. Kind of, it's like the other night when I was working on the Final Fantasy VII, I didn't know how to do the cuts and grads over my roughy pencil, so I'm gonna go fucking try it out, and killed a day doing it. But it was a positive step forward, you know. One thing I do is eliminate the time factor. I don't go, my God, I got to have all this stuff done by tomorrow. What I try to do is just focus on, you know, actually what I'm going to do on the page, what I'm going to draw. And then over time to sort of build that up, through comfortability. It's easier to build up when you're working on things you're comfortable with, which is why like I've stopped taking gigs or jobs that require me to constantly like switch up how I draw because it's just a constant step backwards in terms of like productivity. So but I am a fairly self-motivated person, so what demotivates me is when I have to like ask permission from people to do things or try to convince them to let me to draw things a certain way or do a certain something. I'm not at this point in my life, I'm not very receptive to that. Hey, I gotta really go convince this person to let me do something. I'm just doing whatever the fuck, I think it needs. And if you don't agree with it, there might be some adjustment that can be done, but oh well, you know. I can answer too long, so if I continue going down the path. I think your desire to see things done should outweigh your desire to, be afraid of creating something. Like right now, I have a fear of coloring over my roughy pencils. You know, I know these lines don't look as good as when I digitally ink. However, I don't know if that looking as clean or as good matters. Sometimes that roughing, gives the lines depth, and then having the confidence to be like, hey, can I execute that well enough? Can I get 80% there? What's up, Ash? You know, so part of it is getting better with inking or drawing over. I mean, I'm not really inking, I'm drawing with pens. Like it's slightly different. It's not like I'm drawing this whole thing and then re-inking it. I'm trying to get it all done in one shot, you know? So it's not always going to work. I know certain publishers are not going to want that scratchy look. They're going to want the clean lines, which means I either charge appropriately or make sure that it's a project I really want to do. So that's worth the extra effort. So with this piece, I'm going to do a little test to see how it works out. And if it looks good enough, then I'll just color it straight. Otherwise, I'm going to have to pull some serious hours to get it done. I really don't want to. I just need to get better. What inspires you in your art and the way it comes out? Well, I mean, I have a specific goal now. Like, and that goal is to kind of create the kind of art that I grew up with without recreating the art that I grew up with. So, trying to like take things like the cliffhanger stuff or the image stuff that I grew up with, and also trying to mix some of that anime influence and the animation influence, and the details that I like. So, I have a very specific goal in terms of what I'm trying to do. So that motivates me, in terms of just being able to see that through. And then with my comic stuff I'm working on, it's just I want to be able to tell stories, make characters act and react, and take people on adventures, not just still images. Assembling all this is the hard part. Assembling the drawing, the writing, the coloring, the level of detail that I want out of it, you know? and then doing it again and again and again and again. Whoa, deep. There's a 15-year-old version of me still in my head, the kid that I grew up with. And I kind of just want to like impress him. Because I really couldn't. I mean, I could draw better than my friends, but I wasn't a very good artist. You should check out, I did some videos called Rob's Old Art. It's 2 parts. I kind of show a lot of the stuff I grew up with, like my old art from high school and everything. And so being able to, you know, draw at the level that I've always wanted, and not just draw, but color, write ink, the whole thing. Um, like I always think, would this make 15-year-old Rob a happy kid? Yeah, the other trick is having the confidence to stick with. I mean, once you come up with things you like to do, you start doing them. Don't just expect, critical like praise or even like attention. It's like a matter of learning how to like stick with it, even if no one gives a fucking shit. Like if no one cares, if you care, then you know. Right. Not worrying about like. I mean, just work on the quality. And if you and really have a good eye, like develop your eye for what you want to do. You know, and really push towards that goal. And like I've said, the only regret I have in my career is maybe two things. If I could go back and adjust, it's not even regrets. Just if I could go back and adjust, it would have made things a little easier for me. One, I would never have pursued illustrating interior art for independent publishers. I would have just stick to making my own independent comics back in 2006. That venture derailed me almost 10 years. Through canceled projects and constantly having to draw like other people, and how I wanted to move my art at the time ended up moving toward the way people, are more receptive toward that look now than they were 10 years ago. The other thing would have been, when I had my first teacher job, I probably should have just stayed at that one place and not traveled around to a bunch of different companies. I would have just stayed there. So, just so I could have focused a little bit more on my own stuff and not constantly trying to save companies from bankruptcy that basically left me bankrupt, So, not anymore, but it did it for a period of time. That's annoying. They say you have to go to art school to get an art job, but I've seen people that are well off and either are comics, self-produced. Well, I went, and I think it's a colossal waste of. I think I paid $70,000 on my tuition. I paid my student loans off, but it was a fucking nightmare. I spent 44,000 in tuition, ended up owing another 30 in interest. So I don't think people should be spending $70,000 to get a degree. I think if you want a degree, you can go to community college and get one in art, which would help you get like a real job, or maybe to get a job you need a bachelor's degree. Fine, go get one. If you need a degree, you can go to a community college, pay it as you go, whatever you want to do. But in terms of being an artist, you don't. The problem is that there just aren't a lot of art jobs to get anymore, short of game design and web development. Even in t-shirts where I come from, they've all consolidated to like 3 or 4 different companies. So, um, I would say, try to get, I won't say a real job. Get a job that takes care, bills and, whatever else, and then use your art to fund your savings, and your mental, whatever. Make your own stuff, Take some side gigs just to get the experience. Am I late on the Nintendo's? You're never late on the Nintendo discussion, Garland. You're welcome to bring up whatever you'd like. But I didn't learn to do any of this at school. I went to this art institute or whatever to learn how to do 2D animation because I thought it'd make me a better artist, and I did it for about a little less than a year, and then they switched all of 2D animation into 3D, and it was a fucking nightmare. They just shoved us into Maya and 3D Max and never really taught us how to do anything. I only managed to get through it because of digital tutors at the time. They're gone now. Um, Learned how to do all this on top of school and work, you know? So, yeah. I don't have a lot of nice things to say about it, especially for-profit art schools, I have a friend who went to community college, got the same art degree, and everything was paid in full because he paid as he went. And he has a bachelor's of whatever. He's a bachelor's of art. I have a bachelor of science because of all the programs I had to learn. Bachelor's of science in media arts and animation, whatever the fuck that means. Media arts. Colossal waste of money. Thoughts on Zelda? I'm okay with the voice acting, especially the characters and all. Yeah, I already pre-ordered, and I got Zelda coming on there. Even though I have a Wii U, I'd rather play it on the Switch. So I'm fine with whatever they make, man. I was not interested in Between Two Worlds, right? And it blew me away. So they're on a roll with Zelda right now. So whatever they do, I'll play. I'm happy with. Want to do 2D animation as well, but everything went 3D, and I tried that, landed in debt, realized I'm not particularly interested in that. Good for you, Ash. I've tried following Alex Alvarez, the Nomon vids for doing plans and such, and Dan, there's so many things. The Nomon vids are bullshit. I bought $2,000-$3,000 worth of them when they came out. Thinking they might teach me Maya. I thought for certain they would. And they just cut so many shortcuts, and they work on projects that are just unrealistic for the beginner to achieve. Luckily, I found that Intro to Maya Digital Tutors when it came out, where you had to make a pod raiser, and that saved my life in terms of just explaining me how the program worked and walking me through a program, the whole bit in terms of modeling, texturing, animation. So it's a shame that they're basically out of business now, thanks to the internet, and stealing all their videos, but they really saved my ass. Damiano, going to community college now part-time, gen ed, so I can get the prerequisites done for illustration. Right. Good for you. I applaud that. Do as much as you can. Pay for as much of it as you can outright. And go to a real college. Don't go to a fucking for-profit art institute, art school nonsense. Most of our school for me was teachers who are not artists, teaching me Photoshop, 3D Studio Max, and draw what you see classes. I'm mostly self-taught, learn a lot. Right. It's hard to teach this. It's like, even now, when I'm working on this stuff, people are like, oh, you should make videos, dude. You should make video. I don't know how to teach this, to get to this is very difficult. I'm good at guiding you. Like, let me see what you're doing. Okay, I think you should focus on this and come back, focus on that, come back. You can't teach this. You can't go to art school, come out. Now, you could teach life illustration because in fundamentals of perspective and rendering, like art college out in Pasadena and CalArts, because you bring up a model, you learn to hold your pencil like so, right? And you render light. And you do that for about 3 or 4 years. That you can teach. I'm still glad I didn't do that because I would have owed another $100,000 on top of what I already fucking paid off. So, digital is way better than the education get full sale for 3D. Yeah, digital tutors again save my, not just save my ass. Like it's providing help now because I use those same DVDs to help Brandon's wife learn Maya and the stuff we're working on. So I got to get my 3D money back. I mean, I paid $70,000 for that diploma. So, I'm going to get my money's worth out of it one way or the other. I would say this about the Nintendo Switch presentation. One, I have already pre-ordered my Nintendo Switch. It's paid for. It'll be here on the 3rd. They're not having an event. They got to ship it, so where I live, so that's fine. 2, Zelda looked wonderful. I'm not happy with how they released the info. I'm glad that they announced the region free and the pricing up front. I like the USB-C recharge, but the way they announced the games was fucking really weird. Mario not being a launch title is disappointing. Self-taught as well, mainly because I went to a shitty inner city public school where the teachers didn't care. Yeah, well, I don't know if they can't see. Art in the West is not taught as a vocation. Art in the West is taught as an expression. That's why when you go to art class, they put on the fucking music, you close your eyes, you draw, learning to draw with the right side of your brain, and you just do this weird shit. You immediately start drawing the things you want to do. They don't teach you to do it for a living because in the West, it's like, oh, you want to draw for a living? You're going to starve. So YouTube right here, this is what I used to go to Comic-Con once a year for. I used to go to Comic-Con and bug the fuck out of artists and then take all that knowledge home and try to improve my stuff based on it, So I'm just trying to pay it forward every day. Nintendo Switch hardware looks too good to be true. I'm fine on the fence. They were honest. They said between 2 to 6 hours unplugged, which is what I get on my DS. So I don't have a problem with it. Right now, I'll buy anything Nintendo makes in terms of a new Mario coming out or whatever. Even if it's not 100% perfect, I don't give a shit. The GameCube is my least favorite Nintendo system, and it has still some of my favorite games on there, so I can't, you know. Although I'll never forgive them for what they did to Wave Race, because that fucking Wave Race game was just atrocious. Yeah, I mean, where else can you go and talk to people actually doing it? The only negative thing I can see to YouTube is when you see all these speed videos and people take shortcuts and they don't show you the full process, and you get this unrealistic expectation of how long things take, you know. So then the rush has been in art to just draw faster. So there's a lot of these people who are they basically draw silhouettes and paint into them, and I don't know. It's not the kind of art that I like making. So Time Splitters too. Come on, dude. Time Splitters. We all know. X Rare guys making a fucking first person shooter. The Perfect Dark dudes. Time Splitters too. Some great stuff on the GameCube, man. So wonder if it's backwards compatible. Didn't hear Nintendo mention that, but Zelda. It will definitely have Wii games, being that those fucking things are motion accelerometer or whatever. So my guess is they'll be selling Wii games on the Wii store, but no upresing, right? So, um, but hey, at the end of the day, like I said my only real complaint at this point is that Mario Odyssey shouldn't be a holiday release. It should be a summer release. You know. But Zelda looks like, Studio Ghibli's Legend of Zelda. I love that their logo is the original Zelda logo, the way it was on the Famicom. It's a nice nod back to the original Zelda. So I'm hoping that after you beat the game, you could play it as Zelda. That'd be great. Second quest is Zelda. Yeah. Wish I had more mobile data. School's more enjoyable when I watch it. I appreciate it, Darth Andrew. Appreciate you using your precious data, hanging out with SketchCraft. Yeah, I was hoping for 249, but whatever, you know. I hold off on things like the Pro Controller and everything because I really just want to be able to play my shit mobilely around the house, you know? So if I really don't like using the controller, then I'll get one. But I didn't, as much as I love the Pro Controller for Mario Kart, that was my main reason for using the Pro Controller on the Wii U is for Mario Kart. But I don't see myself getting Mario Kart Deluxe, you know? You kept your hands up for something that the stream crashed. No, I'm here. Hmm. Love to you. Oh, I just want it to be open world. You know, I can play it however I want to play it. That's really what I care about the most. And I'm looking forward to getting Ukulele on Nintendo Switch whenever it comes out, though. That's for certain. Okay, we got him to do next. Enjoy some of my coffee here for a second. Where did I put? I'm always one pen short, right? Like one of them always manages to fly somewhere around here. I don't know where it went. Where the fudge did it go? Do 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 do. It must have fallen on the ground. Where is it? Where is my other pen? Oh, it's right here. The ground is always my first look. What type of flavor coffee is Greg Booth mentions? I'm sure he drinks a Death Wish. I either ground my own bean, or if I want something flavored like a hazelnut or a vanilla nut, I just keep with Don Francisco's. Otherwise, I just ground my own bean up. Get it locally. Well, I mean, they don't grow it locally, but you know what I mean. From like, they have a co-op here. I like regular espresso. Sometimes I have a vanilla nut or hazelnut. I drink it black, so tonight it's hazelnut. In the morning, I'll make it with butter and coconut oil. They call that the nitro, right? I don't know. I've always had that since I was a kid. My mom got me into that. Whatever they're calling it now. When I was a kid, my mom was like, "It's just." Mom was like, "It's nitro." That's what my mom used to call it. I had a fun mom. She preferred me drinking coffee to soda. So you know, almond amaretto flavored coffee with a grind. Mm. Anything else on tackle? Looking forward to it. You know, looking forward to it. I haven't read the manga because I just want to see the anime for now. So other than that, looking forward to it. I'm excited for Attack on Titan season two, One Punch season two, and Ni no Kuni. Whenever they get around to doing Haiku season four. Butter and or yeah, it's 1 tablespoon butter, 1 tablespoon coconut oil. That's what my mom got me into, like in the mid '80s. She had to get coconut oil from Mexico. They didn't have it at the store. Do you watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventures? No, but I like the art in the game. I'm a big fan of the old Capcom game, so manga's crazy. Yeah, well, I'm reading Fairy Tail Zero. I'm not going to get into the older ones, but I like Fairy Tail Zero seems is pretty cool enough. I just finished Haiku season three, and I'm gonna go back and finish ReZero Erased. And then I gotta get caught up on Stranger Things and stop watching. You watch cable shows like not cable shows except for Game of Thrones. Westworld. I don't like a lot of TV. Not an American Horror Story. Vikings, not my thing. Uh, Stranger Things, Netflix shows, Man on the High Castle. I like things when they're all up. I don't like waiting. You know. And I don't like the network recap episode thing where they drag seasons out 24 episodes when they're really like 12 episode seasons, and they got to have that one where the character, this is why they're important to the team. Like I already went through that with Buffy. Like I don't like to see them repeat episode tropes that I've already seen on Buffy. Like I just want them to kind of get on with it now. So I stopped watching Flash and Arrow and all that because they just fucking take forever. If they cut it down to like 10 episodes, I'd come back. Yeah, it's drama, but I like it. It's because I grew up. I mean, I like Buffy. I don't mind the drama. I like the first season of Angel, but what they ended up doing with Cordy, it's unforgivable to me. I can't watch it. I turn it off. This is the first show I ever quit. Yeah, I like that first season, man. I like the vibe of it, but mm, what they did to Cordelia, the dude does not abide. You know. Wish new Dominion Tank Police was being made into a game. Would be cool to patrol. Trust me about it. Tank Police would be an awesome, crazy taxi. Meets Grand Theft Auto, kind of like that'd be fun. I don't watch all the charms as well. Yeah, it's all right. I like Buffy because of, I mean, obviously the characters and the interactions, and they put a lot of superhero references in there and Star Wars stuff, and you know. Do 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 do. No problem, Caleb. Thanks for hanging out. Peace. Bye. Peace. Do 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 do. Did you use whiteout for this kind of ink work? Do I use whiteout for this? See some coffee and some process and whiteout being used. I think Bernie Hayes says you mess up. For the art, I'll put whiteout over like some of these things to pop them out. A lot of people do stuff, man. Like I own the Dark Knight Returns Absolute Edition, right? So it's got the pages like pretty much at size 11 by 17, and there's whiteout and tape and markups and changes all over the place. So um, I don't have to because I can just use Photoshop, but for the sake of the actual art, you know, I will. Any editing I need to do, if I really need to make changes that are big, I can just do it digitally. Yeah. I don't ever like, I don't, after animating in 2D, I never want to look at a light box ever again. Like sometimes I have to do it for the watercolors, the saucies, when I'm transferring lines over to paper and stuff. So that's fucking sucks. Or sketch covers. But I try to avoid staring into that fucking light box as much as humanly possible. Just because that was my life for like a year, you know, or 2 years, I think. I don't know. It was a long fucking time. And I don't even like fluorescent lighting, so. Yeah, now that you have a computer, man, anything's possible, dude. You know what I mean? You can draw it separately. I could take some of these smaller elements, blow them up, draw them separately, composite them, and shrink them down. So, you know, moving forward, I might do some of that for some of these pieces, like these motorcycle bike pieces and these little arcade units. I might blow them up a little bit bigger just to get more detail put into them. Some artists like Sean Galloway, I've seen him like draw each character individually and then compose digitally, which it's a little wild for me. Uh, but you know, I get it. You know, so I mean, I wouldn't make each one of these like this big, but I could blow it up 50%, 50%, 50%. You know. So right now it's a matter of like I'm still learning what I can and can't do. You know, in terms of that because I want to just not have to digitally ink as much as possible, just for time. So we'll see what I can do color-wise. If it's not looking that good, then I'll go back. Uh, what's a must-have? Well, at least, you know, any tablet, you know. It depends, man. Like, it's hard, dude. You know, when you draw completely digitally, a Cintiq is something that, like, look, if you're not going to make your money back, if you're just trying to do it for recreational use, then don't. Get an iPad Pro, you know. Um, you know, if you want to, like, just paint digitally, a Wacom's just fine. You know, painting is not as nearly essential to having a, like a Cintiq style thing as a. But drawing, I can't draw on a Wacom tablet. Me, I got my first Cintiq in 2008. I used my first Cintiq in 2003. The first version at SIGGRAPH in San Diego. The hardware wasn't there, but I knew with version 2 it would be. My plan has always been to my plan has always been to be able to draw on the screen, you know. So I used my Intuos until I got that in 99, 2000. No, I got my first Intuos in 2000. Um, no, I got my first Intuos in 2001, right? No, 2000. 2000. No, 2001. Because that was that Bush gave us a refund. People forget that. They had a surplus. They gave everyone a refund. The government gave me $500 back. I spent it on a 9 by 12 not a 12 by whatever, giant fucking Intuos, overspent. Then used the Cintiq in 2003, replaced my Wacom in 2008 with the Cintiq because I had carpal tunnel. What software do I use? Photoshop. That's it. I've been using Photoshop since 1995, 1996, 1995, version 2.5. No. So there's very little I can't do in Photoshop. Can always get better at stuff, but and I own all the other stuff. I own Manga Studio. I've tried them all. Painter. Sometimes I 3D model a basic shape in Blender and use that to project an animation. Yeah, that makes sense. A lot of people do, you know. Well, I don't have a problem with it. I think comics look better when they don't use CG backgrounds. Sometimes I think they're overdrawn, you know. Like even those DC comics are like, how to ink the DC way, you know, and it's like this giant CG metropolis. I don't really, you know, doesn't look as good as Akira. So I don't know. But that's just me. I kind of prefer those to be a little looser. If I was to draw my PC with a little pad, would I recommend Photoshop? I don't know, man. Like, it's hard for me to recommend. I think you would be smart to learn Photoshop more than anything else. Because if you plan on getting a job somewhere, that's what they're going to be using. You know, they're not going to be using Psy or Manga Studio. And then you got to go and try to convince IT. Like, when I first got my first in-house art job, I was really fluent in Painter, Painter 3 specifically. Because more artistic than Photoshop. Except that IT would never let me install Painter, nor were they going to pay for a license for Painter. So they're like, we got Photoshop, fucking use it. So for me, that's what I've learned to do. Yeah, well, I mean, for animation, dude, CG makes total sense. I'm talking like for drawn comics, you know? So, I don't know how you're supposed to animate all those buildings by hand when they're zipping through the city. It's like impossible. And I don't normally like all CG anime, but they did that short for Gravity Rush 2. I thought did a good job of trying to limit frames, you know, and create a lot of that 2D feel with it and frame it like 2D. If you have someone drawn by your favorite artist, what would it be? If I could have something drawn by my favorite artist, what would it be? I don't know. You know? It's a good question. I guess, if I could get one of those old school fucking inked Capullo, Danny, Miki creatures, that shit would be dope. You know? I've seen almost like a lot of the art that I grew up with. I've seen a lot of it in person, you know, at San Diego Con growing up, digging through art dealers. I've never seen the creature art up close. My guess is Greg has them locked in a vault or a drawer somewhere, you know? Or any of Greg's Angela art from the first Angelo series. I really like, you know, that medieval Spawn Angela stuff and the Creech and when I was a kid. Not to say that that's how I draw, it's just stuff that I really like. But, they don't, a lot of my, I mean, even Greg doesn't really quite draw that way anymore, so. It's like Stephen Platt. I like Stephen Platt stuff up until Prophet issue 1. That's it. After that, I just, not my cup of tea. Even Soul Saga, it's like, it's cool, it's just, I like the look when it was more heavy metal and less Mobius. You know? Like I used to really be into Joe Quesada's work, sort of as real X Factor, but post his second run on Daredevil, when he started doing that super realistic shit, I just can't. It's not my thing, you know. It's not my jam. His favorite piece of, if I could own a piece of Joe Quesada art, fuck, dude, it'd either be one of those Ninjak pieces or that cover. It's one of my It's probably my second favorite Spider-Man piece ever. Crazy Angels moment. Yeah, I know, man. I just, every now and then when I'm depressed, I go and read the deposition from that trial, and I gotta be honest, Neil Gaiman can go fucking. I mean, for real, dude. It is ridiculous. He pulled some bullshit, He pulled some bullshit on there, and I totally fucking disagree. I mean, I looked into it. If Todd was wrong, then I'd be like, all right, but he really wasn't. And I really feel Neil Gaiman just, he just, for whatever, I don't know what his fucking motives were, but when Dave Sims says you're full of shit, you know, dude got paid $100,000 to write one fucking issue, would kill for $5,000 a page in terms of words. It's far more than enough. It breaks my goddamn heart to see Angelo over at Marvel. Really does, folks. You want to get me riled up? That's a really good conversation to get into. You know? You didn't see Alan Moore. You don't see Dave Sim and Frank Miller fucking pulling that bullshit. Just one fucking dude. You know? For whatever fucking reason he had, I don't know. Not too affiliated with comic names or writers and artists. Just started out about a year ago in the comic store. I don't know, but I do like the Spawner there. They just use an Asian. Well, see, that's what he also got sued over, was using a different angel. Gaiman tried to claim that he had the whole concept of just angels and multiple spawns when, like, that's just inherent in even the first issue. If there's agents of fucking hell, there's going to be agents of heaven. Spawn, even in the first issue, Spawn says if Spawn is created every 400 years. So it's just really weird, dude. You know, it's really weird what he went through. I don't, it really just runs counter to. And some of the shit, he talked a lot of trash in his deposition too. He was like, "Yeah, I was in the DC offices, and they'd bring over Spider-Man and clown, and this is a guy who never should be writing comics. He clearly was written by someone who's never, written before in their life." And I'm like, "What is this shit?" All I know, man, is Todd fucking was getting slammed for image books being written like shit. So he went and fucking hired Alan Moore and Neil Gaiman and Frank Miller to help bring a little street cred to the fucking books. And Gaiman just fucking, for whatever, Todd's biggest mistake was never making that guy sign a work for hire contract. That was Todd's mistake. If he had just made him sign a work for hire contract, done. Done, 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 done. Just breaks my heart. And he goes after him for $1 million fucking dollars, way after, I mean, the boat sailed in terms of like the image money, right? So it's like, he's not selling 1 million copies an issue now, So it's just whatever, It is what it is, Angela is now part of the Marvel fucking universe. Wonderful. Yeah, you gotta read the deposition, dude. It's crazy. I've read it. It goes deep. I just read it 2 weeks ago, I think. Sometimes when I have a night off, and I'm get a little angry at the world, to just reread it, Dave Sim chimed in on it on a message board or in the comments once on it, and and he's just like, it's just ridiculous. But Todd did an over-the-phone verbal handshake kind of deal, and that's what sort of screwed him, Yeah, whatever. Whatever, man. You know? Sucks. But I get it, when they bring it up, a lot of people just aren't fans of the characters, and they go, "Well, it doesn't matter. It's a shitty character." He was trying to equate Angela and Medieval Spawn to like creating Batman, and Todd wouldn't even go that far. Just they're characters that have a lot of special meaning to me, and especially that era. I was there at con. My first Comic Con was when Image was there. '92. It was their big unveiling. And the promise of Image and creator-owned stuff, and that you could, be wealthy and you could own your own characters and get your own deals, and you could actually, as an artist, see the fruit, the benefits of your efforts. And that's all gone away in modern comics. It's completely gone. Now it's just like it's back to working for Marvel. I love when Todd says on that Image Revolution documentary, "Stop fucking working for Marvel and DC." You know? And if Robert Kirkman should be the best example of that, right? Like everyone loves The Walking Dead, but no one gives it the fact that that's an Image comic. They don't get any credit for that. And Kirkman, is financially well off because of that. Had he done that at any other fucking studio, he wouldn't own jack shit. And he knows that. I'm not saying he doesn't know that, but. And I was there. Like, I mean, it's just crazy seeing footage I hadn't seen since I was a kid, you know? And the Wildstorm offices in La Jolla. I mean, I'm from San Diego, so, you know, it's just like, I was on the Youngblood jet, you know? And Dave Sim giving his speeches at Con, and Todd giving his speeches at Con about creator rights and owning what you do. And we all have a soft spot for like Batman and, you know, those main characters, but so I know what I have to do now, you know? Oh, I own the DVD. Yeah, I own that. Fire and Ice, Paint with Fire. Had a stroke, taught himself to repaint with his left fucking hand. Genius, you know? Yeah, I own it all, man. You know, I'm right there. I'm on it. The only indie character I wish was at Marvel, because it would be better off suited, is Ash. You know, I think Ash would fit in with the MCU really well. Firefighter superhero, you know? Especially New York firefighter. Yeah, Frazetta's like a genius though, man. So, you know, like yeah, I don't care about the Spawn movie, man. Todd's idea of what Spawn is now is not what I'm interested in, you know. And he's been on this making a Spawn movie without Spawn for a long time. I really think if you're going to make a Spawn movie without Spawn, make a 10-hour Netflix show starring Sam and Twitch, you know? I don't want to go to a movie theater and watch a 2-hour movie Twilight Zone film that doesn't have Spawn in it, you know? He wants to make it some creepy thing with Seven, like Seven but with Spawn. Like make that shit a Netflix show. I just don't see, you know. But he can't use Angela anymore. He can't use the medieval Spawn stuff. He can't use all that stuff. So the idea of the high fantasy, you know, heavy metal, Warcraft, superhero, Spawn, Batman thing, you know, just it's gone, you know. So whatever, you know. Yeah, like Stranger Things, you know. No, he's not gonna make it really scary. He's not just gonna make. It's not gonna have Spawn in it. He's been doing this since issue 60 or 70 of Spawn. If you remember those issues, it's when he moved Spawn out of like the high fantasy stuff and into like, all these drug dealers and pushers on the street and, like little cannibal stories, where they're on the island and they hunt people, you know, that story, only then Spawn shows up and exacts justice. So it's almost like a creep show vibe, where Spawn's just this thing. I just think Spawn works better in animation. I wish it was an anime or something that was driven artistically. I don't really go to Spawn for a giant fucking story. You know what I mean? Like it would work perfectly fine in animation. I don't need a live action Spawn. I want it to look like Capullo's art, and fucking be hella cool and watch him kill demons and shit and fucking angels come down and, you know, it spawns the boogeyman. Like I'm not, like, I don't, it's not for me, man. So I wish him the luck. He wants to direct, so he'll have his opportunity, and I hope he does a good job and surprises me. But, I really think if he's going down this route, it should be more like a Netflix show or something. Because it's going to be like The Purge and then Spawn's in the background, Like, okay, Purge is fine, but that's not. So that's really why it's taken so long. Given Attack on Titan, I don't know why we can't get a Spawn anime. But Todd grew up with Hollywood, not, you know what I mean? So he really wants. He's always been about making that big Hollywood thing. He's like, I'm going to do an indie movie. It's not going to be a big Hollywood movie. I'm like, man, just don't care for this whole Spawn as a boogeyman. It's not my. You can have the high fantasy of like a Thor thing, the heavy metal superhero shit on Earth, demons and angels, fucking Metallica blasting in the background. For whom the bell tolls, would be awesome. I heard a movie executive once complain about Todd, his desire to make Spawn into 7. He's like, that's 7. The thing was ahead of New Line. He actually was like, dude, that's 7. We already made that movie. Like I really just want to make. Todd's like, well, I don't want to make Spawn doesn't work as a superhero film. I'm like, well, no, that movie didn't work. And I'm not saying it has to be a superhero, but look, if you can make Guardians work, you can fucking make Spawn work. That being said, like Street Fighter, I just think it would look better in animation. But whatever. Yeah. Okay. He's gonna make it. One way or the other, I would just think with the success of Walking Dead, why he doesn't have an Amazon show. I mean, if they can make the fucking Tick, they can. And I watched that, by the way. That was weird. They got the voice down on the Tick pretty well, but weird fucking pilot. I like to realize and runs big and I realize and be close. Saturday and game a movie and work as best as the game. Take cartoons fun to watch. With Savage Dragon, when they did that initial cartoon over at USA, he hated. His initial idea for the cartoon was something more like Ren and Stimpy. And I would love to see, you know, like a crazy Christopher Lucy violent superhero drama, you know, with Savage Dragon. I did a Savage Dragon sketch, little pinup thing based on that idea. It's on my DeviantArt. Type in Savage Dragon. Tick cartoon's fucking awesome. That's why I let anime, live action, just leave it to right. Not everything needs. Man, why does everything need to get more legit when it's live action? You know, I didn't care about the fucking Attack on Titan movie. I have the series. You know, the animation. Some things just look cooler drawn, man. It's okay. You know. It's like I have no desire to ever watch volleyball on TV, but I'll watch fucking haiku all any day of the week. Anime volleyball is amazing. You know, you can't get half those fucking angles in live action. Solid animated films. Yeah, but I do like 10 hours of fucking anime, so I can't complain. Yeah. The Max cartoon's still probably my favorite of all time. Just the mixture of live action with cartoons, and the panels were literally based off the comic. You know, you get those long fucking panels, airbrush windows and shadows and shit. I've been saying for the longest time I wish they would make Bone into a stop motion animated film, and now they hired the fucking guy who did the Little Prince to direct the Bone flick. So I'm hoping that they make it stop motion. Doubtful, but it would be amazing. Max cartoon was so cool. I like the weird ass one. Yeah, Aeon Fox was dope, but the Max is still my favorite. It's a shame they couldn't get the Savage Dragon in that one episode with the shark dude. They had to change it. cartoon Western films. They became CG, man. We can't draw over here. Nobody wants to go see drawn movies. So what will happen is though, what we can do is we can do CG films that look 2D, including with all the cool frame skips and different art styles. I really wish, you know, you could do a film that looked just like Frank Miller's art in The Dark Knight Returns with the watercolor Lynn Varley background. You could do that in CGI. You know, they won't. They'll keep making the Zootopia super glossy thing, but they can. The best hope for 2D animation in America is YouTube. People just making shit and putting it up. You know. Well, that's because the amount of money they spent on it. You know. Told you the only hope is independent people on the internet. You know. Luckily, I have Dofus on Common still making Dofus stuff, and every now and then that guy that did The Illusionist and Triplets of Belleville makes something. So but the days of Beavis and Butthead style animation, Liquid TV, Aeon Flux, that shit's gone. At least in terms of Hollywood. Even the Tick cartoon, it's not gonna happen. Looks like Extreme is getting new. Yeah, I guess I could just care less. You know, I always like the idea of celebrity superheroes like Youngblood. Good name, celebrity superheroes. But you know, who knows, man? We'll see. We'll see what it turns out like. Getting a deal and actually releasing a film are two different things. The only character he ever had that actually has great stories is Supreme from Alan Moore's stuff. You know, so he made Supreme film based off the Alan Moore. I mean, I don't know how you film half that shit, but but you need like a Chris Lord, Phil Miller, Chris Lord, whatever the Lego motherfuckers. You need someone to pull off that celebrity superhero shit. You like the guys that wrote The Office or fucking, you know. How do I feel about Rob Liefeld? Man, I've given a long talk about this. I did a whole episode on this podcast on Liefeld. You know, the problem with Liefeld is Liefeld. You know, which Liefeld are you gonna get? The one that fucking half-asses and fucks off and just he's inking pages to his comic in his car while he's driving and acting like an asshole, or are you gonna get the guy who fucking can just create some cool shit? The problem is Rob Liefeld has a giant fucking. I mean, everyone's got an ego, but I mean, he wasn't thrown out an image for no reason. You know, he talks a lot of shit. And then the problem is, is he'll talk shit and then spout his religious beliefs. Which just drives fucking people crazy. It's like this, right? Here's the problem with Rob Liefeld. Okay, you don't see Todd McFarlane going to Toys R Us and surrounding himself in Venom toys when Spider-Man 3 came out. Here's my character, it's Venom. All he does is talk about, here's my character, it's Deadpool, and then my great first character is Cable. Like, all he does is do that all day long. He reminds you of what he's done all day long. There's a very, you know, he doesn't have a lot of tact, you know? My buddy was drawing Evangeline for a while and offered me to work on some stuff, but you think there was money in it? Nope. So I turned it down. So I'm not working for free. You know, I can do that on my own. I can draw Evangeline right here in my room for free. Like I don't. What do I need Rob Liefeld for? It's like I always thought he made fun art. I like Profit. He made fun. You know, skateboard kind of like attitude-y stuff. But then he would go overboard. You couldn't just get like a Youngblood book. They'd have 15 fucking books, and he wouldn't be drawing any of them. Just barely drawing the covers and not even applying himself. When he applies himself, it's a fun comic book. It's boys' art. But there's this lazy streak in him, man. You know, and this greediness to him that comes across. And he'll even admit in the Image Revolution, he's like, yeah, I put out too many books that, had his name on it, didn't actually, you know, shit like that. Like, he'd always hire good talent, Jeff Matsuda, Todd Knox, Stephen Platt. Christian Lichtner got his first gig over there, Danny Miki. He always surrounded himself with great talent, except for Merritt Michaels, and those guys. I'm not the biggest fan of them, artistically speaking. Um, But I just remember when I was at Comic-Con and Captain America Heroes Reborn came out, and I was looking at it, and I thought it was the preview. The whole thing wasn't inked. It was just pencils. Really loose pencils, too. And I was like, so this is like a sketch, right? And they're like, no, that's the book. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. Like, yeah, I hate the New Prophet. We're on a different wavelength there with that. I don't like it. It's not for me. You know? I'm not saying they're bad, just saying I don't care. But just to show you that I talk the talk, guys. You know? I walk the walk. See? I keep my shit right here, bro. You know? It's always here. Oh, these things came from the Comic Con. Like, they had this Extreme Studios Profit, like, you know. I'll be doing more gritty art like this sometime this year, you know. This is the only thing that, like, I'll do style-wise. Like, this is how I draw now. Then I have my saucy stuff, and this gritty thing I'll be doing some more of. I like this shit. Not that I want to draw this all the time, but I like this stuff, you know. So I'll be doing more. You can see the He-Man one I did. What happened to Stephen Platt? He's fucking crazy. That's what it is, you know. He got into music videos and movie stuff, but I haven't met one person that ever met Stephen Platt that actually liked him. Retailers alike. I have never actually got to meet him, but he just got weird. Why I call it saucy? Because it sounds awesome. Because the shit drips all over the page. Branding. But I'm gonna call the new stuff gritty. I think it's gritty. So it'll be my gritty style. So I'm definitely gonna do some. I think some Dragon Ball Z would look awesome in the Stephen Platt look. Might just call it Platt style and be like, fuck it. You know, people will know. Profit all the way through issue 1. Probably draw another He-Man at some point. I'm definitely going to do a profit piece. My style. Nice. All gritty. I've seen all that stuff up close, the profit art, when I was going to Comic Con when I was a kid. I've seen all the art, the wizard cover, the crypt battle. Yeah, man, I'll do all that gritty shit, dude. I like it. I wouldn't. I don't think it's for everything, you know. I don't think you draw Wonder Woman like that, you know. Um, but I like that look, you know. So I could see myself. I mean, I plan on doing like I drew Batman in that style. Did you see my Batman? I did like that. I did a He-Man and a Batman. I should do a Prophet Moon Knight team up. That's what I should do. J. Scott Campbell's Danger Girl was an awesome book. J. Scott Campbell's Danger Girl was an awesome book. He mentioned on some live blogs he did a short run of Spider-Man, but he doesn't have permission to run it. Yeah, I saw a bit of it actually. Secondhand though. So 2006 Wizard World, LA. I got it was when it went from Long Beach to LA, and it might have been 2005. I want to say 2006. So it went from Long Beach to LA, and I stayed at this hotel called the Figueroa, and that's where all the artists stay. So I showed up to sign in, and then I got a call from my job, and they made me drive all the fucking way back to San Diego to fix something because they didn't like that I was going to con, so the guy was being a fucking dick. And I'm friends with that art director to this day, and he admits he was being an asshole, and he's apologized for it. So I dropped my buddy Joe off. So Joe goes to the bar to have a drink. Joe fucking ran into J. Scott Campbell, who was actually drawing that spider. He had a whole Spidey series he was going to do. I got to see a lot of it, took some photos and whatever, and showed it to me, and it was fucking dope. But for whatever reason, it didn't work out. It was after he just did the Wildsiders thing. So he was going to come back. Since that didn't do so well financially, he's going to come back to Spidey. For whatever reason, it didn't work out. But I've seen a lot more of it than has been shown. Yeah. That was when he was doing chipmunk teeth. All the girls had like the, you know, you know. So stop with the fucking caricature shit, man. You know, it's too much. He was like, yeah, but you know, like Power Rangers. I'm like, yeah, we know, man. Just don't care. Problem is, man, is like if he would just draw Danger Girls, I would buy it. I don't want Danger Girls drawn by Phil Noto. You know? Why can't he just draw some more Danger Girls? What's so fucking hard about that? Spend all his time doing these fucking fairy tale calendars and shit. Like, I get they make money, man, but why don't you draw some fucking Danger Girl? You know? Got everyone else drawing Danger Girl but him. So, same with Joe and Matt. He's like, oh, I'll get someone else to draw fucking Battle Chasers. I'm like, I'm not interested in that. You know? No one is. We want to see Joe Mad draw the fucking thing. I don't know. You could hire somebody. We're not looking for the deepest story. You know what I mean? It can just be fun. It's not that hard, man. You know? I'm with you. I backed it too. But I'll believe it when I'll believe that comic when I see it, you know? Let's put it that way. Not saying he's not gonna make it, just saying he hasn't mentioned shit about it since. I hear you, man, but you know, there's I can't tell the guy what to do. Maybe he's busy playing Banjo Kazooie. I don't fucking know. Do 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 do. Later, dude. It's going to be that time for me anyhow. Inking's going a little slow because I'm trying to make it a little bit more complete than I normally do since I'm planning on coloring over this. Nice. All right, folks. It's 2:28. I need to get some sleep. We'll be back at this tomorrow, and we're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna wrap this up because I gotta move on with life. I got other shit to do. We gotta have this done. I gotta get back. I gotta get back to life. I'll be back on later today, no later than noon. So see you in about 10 hours tops. Peace, everybody.